It's been almost a month since the launch of the iPhone 15 series, and I'd like to believe the dust has settled. Over the last few weeks, I've been using the iPhone 15 primarily so that I could answer a question I get asked the most. Do I need an iPhone 15 Pro, or can I just get the more affordable iPhone 15? Similarly, current Pro users who also love the color pink have asked me if it was okay for them to downgrade so that they could get this beauty. All legitimate questions, and thankfully, I have the answers. Hi, I'm MICHAELJOSH, your gadget matchmaker, and over the last decade, I've made it my job to show people around the world that tech can be easy, fun, and exciting. On this channel, I give you special access to the products I review, the events I attend, and all the interesting people I get to meet along the way. So, if you're still undecided about going pro, give this channel a like and subscribe, and I'll help you find the right iPhone to match your needs. In this video, I'll review the iPhone 15 and 15 Plus and help you decide whether or not to go pro. Before we dive in, let me start by saying the reason why there are different iPhones is choice. The iPhone 15 is standard issue, the phone for most people. The iPhone 15 Pro offers all the bells and whistles, including some pro-oriented features, hence its name. Over the last few years, Apple has really differentiated the two, but know this, while stepping up means you get more, stepping down doesn't necessarily mean an inferior experience. Lots of haters online are barking. It looks the same, nothing new to see here. But as I always say on this channel, phones don't have to change the way they look every year, especially if they found a great design language that's uniquely theirs. Why change it? And it's not unique to Apple. Samsung and Google, for example, have also done the same. I will say this though, while it may not be a difference you can see, it's definitely a difference that you can feel. In the case of the iPhone 15, my advice is to feel it first. Everyone who's asked to hold my new iPhone has immediately noticed the difference. It's the subtlest of changes, but the iPhone 15's new contour cut design means the once sharp edges are slightly curved. Add to that the new frosted matte finish, and you've got a phone that's silky smooth in the hands. I do recommend a case, but when at home, I've used the iPhone 15 Sans one, and I've totally enjoyed just picking it up. Don't believe me? Visit a store and feel for yourself. Before we get on with our day, let's charge the iPhone 15. And because Apple doesn't include one, Ugreen sent the Nexode RG 65-watt charger. Don't be fooled by the cuteness of our sponsor. It has 3 ports, 2 USB-C and 1 USB-A. So it lets me charge not just the iPhone 15, but also my MacBook Pro and this aperture light that we use when we're filming. Notice the mini display on the robot shows this cute emoji to signify that it's charging. Right now it looks like a jolly face. The shoe on the robot is actually detachable and protects the plug when not in use. Powering the RG65 is GaN technology, which not only charges your devices fast, but also effectively reduces heat generation. The iPhone 15, for example, goes from 0 to 60 in just 30 minutes. It's also got thermal guard that automatically adjusts power levels, so you don't have to worry about overheating when charging multiple devices at the same time. Oh, it looks like our iPhone 15 is done charging, because our cute little robot just changed its face. Looks like a content, happy face. If you need a charging adapter for your new iPhone 15 or iPhone 15 Pro series, check out Ugreen's Nexode RG 65-watt. They also make the 30-watt charger if you want something smaller and don't need all those ports. They retail for $49.99 and $25.99 respectively, but with a coupon and our code combined, you get up to 25% off. I'll put all the Amazon links below. Unlike previous iterations of the iPhone that came with glossy back glass, this year the Pro models, the iPhone 15 and the iPhone 15 Plus, have matte frosted finishes instead. This means that the back of your phone will be less prone to smudges and feel softer to the touch. Instead of the bright, vibrant colors we're used to, Apple chose to go pastel this year, and the muted colors are growing on me. As I write this review, the Pink 15 Plus is glistening in the light. I just love the way the color-infused glass, especially on the camera module, has this transparent quality to it. It's almost gem-like. Depending on the light, these phones will sometimes only have a faint tint to them, bordering almost on white. Other times, the color really shines through. By the way, in every chapter of this video, I'll be comparing the 15 to the 15 Pro, and I'll be letting you know if these differences are one of the following: a feature worth upgrading for, something that's nice to have, just a gimmick, has unrealized potential, or is just for the pros. Both phones have ceramic shield on the front glass for as much protection as glass can get. The only main difference is that the iPhone 15 Pro models feature titanium instead of aluminum. As a build material, titanium is supposedly tougher. I think it's pretty too. But honestly, it's not a deal breaker, so I'm calling this a nice to have. New to the iPhone 15 this year is Dynamic Island. Previously a feature only available on last year's Pro models. I love Dynamic Island. It's one of those features that some people thought was just a gimmick to cover up the notch, but actually is so simple yet so well thought out in its utility that I don't know how I'll ever live without it. If I book an Uber or a Lyft, I can swipe the app away and do something else on my iPhone and still be able to keep track of how far away my ride is. If I need more info, I can also press and hold. Flightly lets you track how much time is left on your flight. If you tap and hold, you can see even more information like your flight number or how early or late you departed and land. That same information is also displayed on your lock screen. Or a quick tap will launch the full app. Meanwhile, BoxBox Club lets you keep track of the latest Formula One races. From Dynamic Island, you can see what lap the race is on, and if you press and hold, you'll see who's leading, among other stats. If we zoom out of the Dynamic Island and take the displays as a whole, you'll find some slight differences between the Pro and non-Pro models. While both come with either 6.1 or 6.7 inch displays, the Pro models now have thinner bezels this year, making them ever so slightly smaller. Both phones have Super Retina displays, but only the Pro models have ProMotion displays, or that 120Hz refresh rate, which makes scrolling through web pages and other apps more buttery smooth. The non-pros have 60Hz panels. If you watch a lot of tech videos, you'll find that most tech creators are split on this matter. I personally think that 120Hz is nice to have, but if you ask most users, most of them might not even notice the difference. More important to me is screen brightness so that you can see what's on your screen even when out in the sun. And good news, this year both models go up to 2000 nits of max brightness, which for non-pro users is a big upgrade from last year. This year's Pro exclusive is the Action button, which replaces the mute switch. Inspired by something we first saw on the Apple Watch Ultra, the Action button is basically a programmable button that you can assign some shortcuts to. For example, you can program it to launch the selfie camera or your flashlight. Not gonna lie though, after about a month of use, I've set the Action button back to its original or intended purpose to mute and unmute my phone, and for that reason, I'm going to classify it under unrealized potential. Not that there aren't a lot of use cases already, but some of the more specialized uses require learning how to create a shortcut. For example, I've been wanting to set a shortcut to turn on and off my hue lights, but I've only gotten the option to either turn them on or off. Maybe I'm just not smart enough to figure it out. New on the iPhone 15 series is the USB-C port. I'm glad the time has finally come, and I hope that very soon all Apple devices will just need one cable, a USB-C cable, to charge them all. I also love that we can now, in times of emergencies, charge our other devices by plugging them into our iPhones. And this is something that you can do on both the 15 and the 15 Pro. Not all ports are built the same though, and if you look at the specs, you'll find the iPhone 15 has a USB-C 2.0 port, while the iPhone 15 Pro has a USB-C 3.2 Gen 2 port, which allows for high-speed data transfers and external video recording. Most users just need USB-C to charge, and to transfer files, I just use AirDrop. So unless I plan on filming 4K ProRes video and need the flexibility of recording to an external solid-state drive, I don't need it either. And for this reason, it's one for the pros. A few years ago, I believe it was the iPhone 13 series, both phones ran what was then the latest A15 Bionic chip. And to go Pro, the main difference was just better cameras. Last year though, they changed it up. Only the Pro models got the new A16 Bionic, and this year that differentiation is even more clear. While the iPhone 15 gets last year's A16 Bionic, the iPhone 15 Pro gets a new A17 Pro chip. Apple is not one to comment on upcoming products, but what this might tell us is that in the future, Apple will continue building Pro SoCs for their Pro phones. A17 Pro is the world's first 3nm processor with dedicated engines for Pro features like being able to film ProRes videos. It also features a desktop-class GPU, which Apple hopes will usher in a new era of mobile gaming. I've been playing the desktop version of Resident Evil Village on my iPhone 15 Pro, and in 2024, many AAA titles are also promised. Now, that's not to say the iPhone 15 is underpowered. In my month using this phone, I've never really experienced any slowdowns or hiccups. It's handled everything I needed to do, and then some, including some casual gaming. Most users do not need the power that A17 Pro offers, so for this one, I'm calling it one for the pros. Usually the determining factor for most users, the cameras on the Pro models have more to offer, but also they're pretty similar. In just a little bit, I'll show you some comparison photos and other samples, but very briefly, the main differences are as follows. The iPhone 15 Pro features a larger image sensor, while the iPhone 15 has a wider aperture to let in more light and kind of make up for it. Nice to have. The ultra-wide-angle camera on the iPhone 15 Pro has autofocus, which allows it to double as a macro camera for shots like this. Also nice to have. The iPhone 15 Pro has a 3x telephoto lens, while the 15 Pro Max has 5x zoom. But this year, thanks to its new 48 megapixel sensor, Apple does a sensor crop to effectively give the iPhone 15 and 15 Plus 2x optical zoom, even if it doesn't have 3 cameras like the Pro models do. And that's a huge win for non-Pro users. Also nice to have. Now, the reason why I'm considering all of these as nice to haves versus worth upgrading for is because Apple's software magic is already so good that regardless of what phone you get, photos are most likely going to be stunning. These are definitely some of the best smartphone cameras in the biz, and every year they get incrementally better. In terms of camera app features this year, only Pro models have night mode portraits, and that's also because only Pro models have a LiDAR sensor on their back, which helps with depth mapping in the dark. Only Pro models can shoot Apple Pro RAW and ProRes log video, as well as in a future update, spatial video for Vision Pro. All of these features are for the pros. What you need to know is that across the board this year, Apple's made improvements to its photonic engine. This year, on top of pixel binning images from these large sensors, which is what most smartphone brands do, Apple is adding another step to the process by using AI to merge the bin photo with a high-res original. This basically adds more detail back into a shot. It might not be obvious on social, but if you preview the originals on a computer and zoom in, you'll notice the difference. There's also something called next generation portraits, which basically means any photo of a person, a dog, or a cat that you take on your iPhone 15 can be converted into a portrait photo, even if you did not take a portrait shot. These improvements, including others like an updated Smart HDR and improved night mode, also come to all models. If you come here every year for buying advice, you've probably already heard me say this. Most users will be plenty happy with the iPhone 15 and will not need to go Pro. Apart from the Pro user that it is intended for, the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max are for the kind of gamers who like console or desktop level titles, or for the user who just wants the best device on offer. Whether that's because they want to try out all the new features or just like the prestige that it brings. There is no wrong answer here, folks, and all are legitimate reasons. So just figure out where you kind of lie vis-a-vis my recommendation. Finally, the last thing we haven't talked about is price. The iPhone 15 starts at $799, while the 15 Pro starts at $999. That $200 is significant. So figure out how much you're willing to spend and factor that in. So say you've decided to upgrade to the new iPhone 15. Which model should you get? Well, the choice between the 15 and the 15 Plus is an easy one. There are only two questions you need to answer. First, what size is best for you? The iPhone 15 sports a 6.1-inch display. The 15 Plus has a 6.7-inch display. So if you have a screen size preference, that kind of factors in to your decision. A big screen comes in handy if you like to play a lot of games, watch videos, or if your eyes aren't so good and you need to display larger fonts. A small screen means a smaller phone, so that's a win for portability. The other question is, do you really need longer battery life? The iPhone 15 and 15 Plus are rated to last 20 and 26 hours of video playback respectively. Battery life isn't necessarily better than last year's. I'm one of those users who will buy the bigger phone for the bigger battery. That said, the iPhone 15 should still last you a full day of average use. And that was our iPhone 15 and 15 Plus review. Are you going to upgrade to a new iPhone 15 this year, or are you going Pro? Let me know in the comments section below. We have tons of content yet to come, so make sure you're subscribed to this YouTube channel and hit that bell icon if you haven't, so that you get notified as soon as we upload. Follow me on social media for all the behind-the-scenes fun stuff, and for news and updates, make GadgetMatch.com your daily habit. Until the next video, I'm MICHAELJOSH. Thanks for dropping by.